Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today I have a scenario, but before I kick off with that scenario, if you want to send in your own scenario, do not do that through the link down, through the comment section, but please do it through the link down below in the description. That is, with the exception of the Taskmaster Tuesday videos, the only way that you can get scenarios to me, as I'll just be deleting the ones that you put in the comment section. Today's scenario is a very interesting one. It is called Something Unexpected, and it is by Brother Munro, who also has his own channel and who's also joining us on the Taskmaster Tuesday videos these times. So check out his channel as well, link to that as well down below in the description. He says a cruiser squadron of the Royal Navy Pacific Fleet is on patrol in the South China Sea. Intelligence reports indicate that there are likely Japanese convoy ships passing through the area. Your job is to intercept and sink any such transports as you can find them. Your spotters see smoke on the horizon and you close in to engage. Too late, you realize that what you initially thought was a large cruiser liner converted into a troop transport is, in fact, an Imperial Japanese Navy battleship. The Japanese had assumed that the 4 ships steaming their way were also IGN vessels, as no allied ship that small would be mad enough to sail right into the mighty warship in such a brazen way. They've realized their mistake now, though, and the battle begins. Now, it is 1928 for the British fleet, and it is 1935 for the Japanese fleet. Well, fleet. We get a heavy cruiser and 3 lights, and the Japanese get 1 battleship and 2 destroyers. But since we actually both misidentified each other, the starting range is not 15,000 but 6,000 meters, which is going to make the battle very interesting because torpedoes will be flying left, right, and center. Now, I have a couple of choices according to Brother Munro. He says the sensible choice, which is a win condition. The sensible choice, at least 1 Royal Navy vessel must escape the battle to report the presence of such a powerful surface vessel to the Admiralty. Escape is defined as being out of range of all Japanese ships, and either being out of visual contact, or having an effective speed larger than any pursuing ships. And the alternative option is no guts, no glory. Escape is not your plan. Send the Japanese ships to the bottom and claim naval victory that will make you a national hero and legendary fleet commander whose name will be long remembered. Now, of course, I'm going to try to pick the more difficult one. I want to actually sink this Japanese battleship. I just really hope that the Japanese battleship is not going to be some sort of humongous creation of 100,000 tons, because in that case, it's going to be a really tough fight for my light and heavy cruisers. Now, I'm going to try and build a ship that you might know. It's the Leander class. That's the type of class that I'm going to try and go with. So, the stats for the Leander class are as follows. She has a displacement of 9,740 tons under full load. So I could put that at 9,750. The Leander class ships could do, 32.5 knots. Let's say they had long range. I'm going to take some liberties here because I don't know exactly how they were designed. Let's say they had an auxiliary engine, of course Group 4, maybe some standard barbette thickness. I'm not sure about single bottom or double bottom hull. It is only a cruiser, but let's just give them singles, at least. And I know that this is an entirely wrong platform to compare it with. World of Warships. World of Warships, if you get spotted in your Leander, you're going to have a bit of a rough time as those ships sink very, very quickly. Right. A Leander class has a 4 twin 6-inch gun system. So let's put those guns on there. So that's a dual 6-inch configuration. Now, the ship is definitely not going to look like Leander class, simply because the game doesn't quite allow you the freedom that you would need in those situations. But I'll try to approximate the design. The problem that I probably will be facing is that with this Leander type design, I will be sacrificing a ton of armor in a way that I probably am not going to enjoy. I am probably going to be facing pretty damn heavily armed and armored Japanese ships, which will mean that my ships are going to get sunk very, very quickly. But then again, maybe that is historically accurate, if you were to put a Leander class up against an enemy battleship. Right then. Oh, hold on. Range was... yeah, 10,610 kilometers at 13 knots, so I'd say long range. Now, she also had 4 single 4-inch 102mm guns. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. And aside from that, she carried a seaplane and a catapult and a crane. Well, that's not something that you have in the game currently. She also had torpedo tubes. These were the 21-inch torpedoes. And I'm just going to keep these at standard. I don't exactly know what type of torpedoes the British used. And I think that in an engagement range of 6,000 meters, it doesn't really matter. Sure enough, fast might help. My torpedo range is currently 12.7. There is something to be said for this, but I think I'm just going to keep it as standard. Now then, the let's say the least enjoyable part of this ship is going to be the armor, because she had a whole 3 inches of armor over the magazine. So I'm going to say 3 inches of belt armor and 3 inches of belt extended armor. She had a whole 1 inch of deck armor, and she had 1 inch, my god, welcome to Flash Fire, she had 1 inch on the turrets. Bloody hell. That's well, she wouldn't have 1.5 inches on the secondaries then. 1 inch maybe. 1 inch on the turret top. Alright. Let's take some liberties here. Let's say she had a sonar 1. She has... it's 1928 for my fleet. Stereoscopic rangefinder 3. Or rather, coincidence rangefinder 3 and... radar? I'm not quite sure about that. Alright, did some research, and it does look like indeed these ships had radar, as the Ajax, which was part of the Battle of River Plate, she had a radar. But it says they were the Leander class were very well built in the 1930s. Achilles proved capable of more than 40 years of service. Oh, never mind. No. After the rest of the class, including HMS Ajax, were scrapped, there was regret in the Royal Navy, because in many ways their long 12,000-mile range and generous hull, they were ideal for use as ocean radar pickets. So no, back in the day, when she was designed, she probably did not have radar. Now this means that I end up with a ship that has a lot of displacement left. I'm just going to keep that as is. The one problem that I'm facing, however, is that I have too much weight offset, and I don't really know how to get rid of it. I can still pull something with this aft turret. Seems to be a bit of a double or nothing. Oh, here we go. 1.1. 0.4. Yeah, I suppose that'll work. Alright. Time to take on the Japanese at 6,000 meter range. With the, not the Sheffield, but... let me try that again. The Leander. Or, again, my version of it. It's probably not exactly what the Leander looked like, but it's an approximation. Interestingly, the Leander class, I think is fairly comparable in the amount of displacement that I have on these ships and that the ships actually had, because they were 9,740 tons at full load. But they weren't always loaded down to the gills, probably. Alright, so we get the Leander, the Isis, and the Sheffield. And we have the heavy cruiser Imperieuse. She has already sent out torpedoes, but just a few. She has a starboard launcher, 21-inch. And main armament on this cruiser is 8-inch in a curious configuration. 5-inch secondary, singular, just a triple turret there, and 2-inch guns on the sides. How about the Japanese? This must be the Japanese battleship, and boy does she have a lot of guns. It's not a modern battleship, because it still has those casemate / dreadnought guns, but that is not going to mean that she is not a huge threat. As for the destroyers, I'm seeing torpedo tubes port and starboard, but just 3 of them, which is going to make my life quite a lot easier, as I don't have to be dancing around torpedoes all the time. That really is quite comfortable. And this thing, I'm not seeing any torpedoes, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any. Right, plan. I should be in range with 7.5 kilometers, especially on the 8-inch. The 6-inch, oh crap, I didn't adjust the propellant nor the loaders. Damn. That's a bit of a mistake. Well, I'll have to make do now. We're using Lid-Eye 2 propellant and a reload of almost 15 seconds. Lid-Eye 2 in this case might actually come in helpful, because it is going to allow me to set more fires, but it will also depend on how good or how bad that Japanese battleship is capable of defeating fires. Now, Leander also torpedoed, the Isis torpedoed, and Sheffield seemingly does not quite have the torpedo angle yet. Casemate guns are already firing. Leander sent out a widespread, but I'm not exactly sure against who. I'm thinking it's the battleship, but, well, maybe. Let's get rid of the cruiser, or sorry, the destroyers first. And hopefully inflict some flooding on that Japanese battleship, so that she's going to be a little bit less accurate, a little easier to hit, and overall potentially less of a threat. But I'm expecting very much to lose at least one of my light cruisers, simply because they are not up to par for dealing with a Japanese battleship. Inflicted some damage to the funnel here already. To be fair to this destroyer, there is a lot of airborne, or a lot of shells incoming. Oh shit. Damage to the main gun on the Leander. That was a 4-inch shell. So that's a shell from a destroyer. Unless it's a secondary. But I somewhat doubt that. I mean, it's not impossible though. It could be a 4-inch. The ship seems to be packing a lot of 4-inch. Torpedo status. We got 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. And another 3 there. So every ship has sent out her torpedoes. And I wonder if these guys are going to be capable of detecting and, as such, avoiding them. I'm not really expecting these to hit much. Unless this destroyer mucks up, and same for that one. The rest of the torpedoes don't look like they're going to hit that battleship. Chance to hit is now so dreadful that my ships just immediately stopped firing. So time to switch over to the battleship. And once I select the battleship, the ships immediately open up with 25% accuracy, 17% accuracy. Hold on. Was the warship here, the battleship, complaining that she took damage to her torpedoes? Because in that case, she does come with torps. I'm not seeing much damage on the destroyer, so it was not some sort of incident where I accidentally hit a destroyer. Status. HMS Isis is taking some damage. HMS Sheffield's fine. Fire on the battleship. The torpedoes are going every which way, but not really looking to hit. If I can tell the Imperios to turn... Oh shit, incoming torpedoes to turn starboard. Maybe not yet. Light cruisers, hard to port, hard to port. Looks like those torpedoes are not going to do anything for me here. We have set a few fires on the battleship. Overall, she really does not seem to be impressed at all with my little pecking away with 6-inch and 8-inch guns. Leander, I need you to maintain course. I need the HMS Isis to turn away. There's other torpedoes. Yeah, Imperieuse is clear. In case you're wondering why the British fleet would have a ship called Imperieuse, I think it's been captured on the French. Not this ship per se, but the ship title or the ship name at some point. And that they just adopted it as a sort of, haha, fuck you. We now have your ship. Speaking of haha, fuck you, the battleship just cut my cruiser in half. And we have absolutely nothing to show for it. I think I'm just going to have to make at least one of these ships run off. Because as it stands, I don't seem to be winning this encounter whatsoever. I want Leander to fall back. You're going to have to get out of here at maximum speed. I want Sheffield to rejoin the formation of Isis. Yep. And I was hoping that the Imperieuse could turn back and try landing torpedoes again. Or at least launching torpedoes, but it looks like there won't be a heavy cruiser left to launch from. So this is going to be over very quickly indeed. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a 64,000 ton warship. Brendryen, 14-inch guns, 8-inch secondaries, 4-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch again, torpedo tubes. Few bulkheads. Land a torpedo and you might actually get lucky. We have launched torpedoes against the battleship. That's probably going to be the last act of the Imperieuse. Because I don't really see her surviving this. She does seem to have the flooding somewhat under control. But outside of that, well... yeah, there we go. That's probably the last hit that she's going to take. Last critical hit. I think all I can do in this scenario is not so much sink that battleship, but hope that one of my light cruisers makes it out alive. And then I fulfill the win conditions in that sense. Maybe I can keep the Sheffield and the Isis around long enough to make sure that the Leander can make it out alive. Don't torp. Wow, 98% structural integrity. She's fairly quick, 27.5 knots. Armor, 9.9 inch in the belt, plus 110, so I roughly have no chance of actually doing damage to that ship. Not with the guns, at least not at this range. She has an anti-torpedo protection of 5, so those torpedoes probably aren't going to do much. If they're going to hit at all. Maybe this one will hit. Yeah, that's a hit. But the Sheffield has been really badly battered. Sheffield, time to detach and fall back. Inflicted a bit of flooding. But this ship is probably pretty capable of getting rid of that water. Anti-flood too. So yes, overall, it's not very successful. I can keep lobbing torpedoes at this battleship, while hopefully dancing around it. Oh crap. These light cruisers just cannot take a hit. Sheffield's at least no longer flooding, but her maximum speed is reduced to 10 knots. Which means that that battleship is about 2.5 times faster. This ship has taken on water, but she's getting rid of it. Buoyancy is going back up. Right. 14.8, torpedo range 12.7. Let's see if I can turn in. And at least drop a few torpedoes at her. course, the moment that I turn out... Oh, crap. Speaking of torpedoes. The moment that I turn out again, it's going to be a very difficult situation. No! Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Turn! Oh, nope. Who torpedoed you? A destroyer. Yeah. Right. Well, I am not too big of a fan of the Leander class. My god, those things are dreadful. Let's see if I rebuild the ship a bit, if I can get a different result. Let's say that they had advanced hydraulic turrets and semi-auto loaders. Now, I'm never going to really get these things to do a lot of damage, these 6-inch shells. At 10,000 meters, they currently have 3.4 inches of belt pen, whereas I would need about 20. So that's a bit more than I can ever hope to achieve. I'm not sure why the game suddenly starts complaining about bad placement here, because I didn't move them at all. Stick with it. There. Other propellant. 2 powder helps a bit. Puts me at 4.3. 4.5. That's about it. I'm not going to give a light cruiser super heavy shells. I think that kind of defeats the purpose. I can give them anti-flooding too, because, well, from what I have read and heard, the British historically had very good damage control parties. So maybe this is a sort of redemption for them. But outside of those parameters, I don't really think that I can change too much about this imagined Leander class to make them more survivable. Especially this is so problematic. 3-inch belt armor, 3-inch deck armor, or sorry, 1-inch deck armor, 3-inch conning, 1 inch on the turret. 1 inch. Alright, let's try it again. Only to find, potentially, that the Japanese have come up with an even bigger and badder design for their battleship. Said battleship is present. Oh no. Oh, I think they did it. Whereas previously I was facing a lot of 4-inch guns on a tower like this, I now have to deal with a bunch of 6-inch guns, which are even more dangerous to my cruisers. So I think that instead of the situation improving, the situation has actually worsened for my ship. Including for the Good Hope. Because without torpedoes, I don't really have a lot of good hope. Alright, there is one more thing that I can potentially use. And that is just to charge right the hell in. Oh, the Neptune has already launched her torpedoes. Okay. In that case, we're going to split up a bit. Neptune, maintain torpedo lock. Port side. Oh shit, there goes the Neptune. We also got torpedoes coming off of those destroyers. Leander, Carlisle, move in. We have a smokescreen up, but it's going to be anybody's guess how much effectiveness that's going to get. Alright, Neptune just sent out another section of torpedoes. So let's have you fall back a bit. Especially since that destroyer does not seem to be taking kindly to my torpedo action. We got another set of torpedoes incoming. And this one actually looks pretty decent. Carlisle, charge in. When faced with something this size, I think the only option that I have is to charge in. And to hope that I at some point knock out their secondary armament. And that maybe she has a poor anti-flooding system. Maybe. But I can definitely expect to start losing cruisers. Probably sooner rather than later. Leander, a little bit to port. Carlisle, a little bit starboard. The ship at least is heading away. That's good news for me, because she has a large concentration of main battery on the bow. Not so much on the stern. 5.3. She is presenting a very small target though. That's my challenge. She is so small, so sleek. Range 5.2. At 5 I get 10 inches of penetration. Well, let's try it then. How's the Good Hope? Let's have you rejoin this fight. Leander. Torpedo when ready. Carlisle, torpedo when ready. Torpedoes away from the Leander. Leander hard to starboard. Carlisle hard to port. I'm going to have these ships cross over in front of each other. And by doing so, allow them to launch their other torpedo salvo. Their other torpedo section. Alright, ship identified. Soryu. 78,000 tons. Few bulkheads. Anti-flood 3. Anti-torpedo 3. 18-inch guns, which reload in 60 seconds. These are the Mark III, so they're not terribly accurate, but at this range it's going to be hard for them to miss. Fortunately, it seems to be taking a bit of time for these things to start turning around. But, oh, it's 8-inch secondaries. 8 and 7s. Lovely. The story just keeps getting better. At least the 8-inch don't have as much reload. But that's about their only redeeming feature against my little Leanders. Neptune, come back in. Hold your torpedo tubes until further notice. I'm going to try and have the Carlisle face off against the destroyer. She's trying to turn her turrets, but the whole hull is moving to port. So she's desperately trying to get the torpedoes on target. Or sorry, the guns. Range to that battleship, a little under 5. And these destroyers are armed with 4-inch guns, which, in case of one of these ships, can actually deal really serious damage. Torpedo launcher on the stern, one amidships. Alright, that is manageable. Carlisle is trying to hit the Hamanami. And the Hamanami seems to be trying to give it right back. Leander has sent out another salvo of torpedoes. Leander hard to port. That single torpedo is coming in. This is going to be pretty risky. Can I just torpedo the destroyer? I wonder. No, let's not. Carlisle to fall back, Leander to go in aggressive. It looks like we might get another torpedo hit. Where's the Good Hope? Here. We have 8-inch guns, which we're firing at 9.2 kilometer range, so about 9.3 inches of penetration. We're going to need more. Get closer. Alright, new target for Leander. The Hamanami. The battleship Soryu seems to be avoiding the torpedo salvo here, but is unable to maneuver in time against these three. So that's going to be my redemption, at least temporarily. I wonder how fast Leander reloads here. It's 450 seconds. That's about 15 seconds. Oh, sorry, 15 minutes. Come on, get rid of that DD before it irks up again. Leander's getting quite look at that dispersion. She's getting quite dangerously close to the enemy battleship. At 3.4 kilometers. All of these 8 inches are just going to tear her apart. I cannot really turn to the port. I cannot really turn to the starboard. At least I'll be landing another torpedo hit on her stern. If I can keep the Leander pretty much behind the Soryu, I'll be able to at least avoid those main guns. Rudder damaged. Lovely. It's a good start. Oh! 18-inch shell impacts the Leander and sinks it immediately. Yeah. Soryu is flooding 2 compartments, including still rudder damage and engine damage. She's definitely not going to escape unharmed with this encounter. Good Hope. Range to target should be, yep, 7.5 now. At which range I'll be able to penetrate 12.8. She probably still has a ton more than that. Yeah, she has a belt extended of 6.2 plus 108. So let's say about 12.5 inches of armor is what I need to penetrate. Get closer. Just get closer. Maybe I just need to keep the Neptune as the last surviving ship. Making sure that somebody's going to be able to tell the tales of this Japanese battleship that's operating in, well, maybe not so much British waters, but at least that, hey guys, there is a warship over here. And we really don't want it here. Soryu has flooded to 65%. I think Carlisle might be ready, but the wreck of the Leander is now getting in the way of the torpedoes. And she is heading away from me, which makes her harder to torpedo. I'm not sure what the Shigure is doing over here. Maybe she was doing some sort of loops because her turrets are all the wrong way. I don't know. 6.3. What's my chance to pen? 16%? Right. Oh, couple of hits on the Hamanami. 6-inch shell does an ammo detonation. That caused 568 points of damage. I'm still keeping a very close eye on this DD, because that quintuple launcher is almost reloaded. 54% buoyancy. I have to keep going in. I'm fully expecting that this is going to cost me the Carlisle. But I'm going to try and get another torpedo landed on the Soryu. And just make sure that she keeps flooding. That's the only way that I'm ever going to be able to sink that ship. 18% chance to pen. At this range we pretty much can't miss. I'm going to have to turn a bit closer towards that DD to avoid the 18-inch guns. So I'm really trying to keep in the shadow of that ship. Hamanami is still not ready to fire. At this point Carlisle is doing pretty accurate shots versus the Hamanami, but it's still very incidental that I can actually get a hit on her. On the other hand, I really only need to get 1 or 2 good hits. Jeez, are you still flooding? Soryu. She's down to 50%. Range 5-1. With a damaged rudder and a damaged engine, you're not going to be terribly quick anymore, are you? 20.7. Carlisle. This is going to be a risky part of the operation. Especially since the Hamanami might... Actually, no, it's too risky. The Hamanami gets her torpedoes away now. I'm going to get a lot of torpedoes to dance around. Carlisle, if she goes broadside, she's toast. At least I'll get immediate notification of any torpedo launches from the Hamanami. Ooh, speaking of. Quintuple launcher plus the singular from the Shigure. 47% buoyancy. There's the torpedoes. .2. It's pretty dreadful. Alright, Good Hope is still doing damage against Soryu. Penetration chance should be going... Yeah, it's going down a bit. Especially with my ricochet chance going up. It's very high at this point. But I still don't want to be engaging the DD, not with the heavy cruiser, because she's inside of a smokescreen. And she's probably doing about 40 knots. Yeah, 34, and the Shigure is racing in at 40. So my chance to hit that ship's actually pretty bad. Soryu, 20.1. You're slowing down a bit. All of the shells that are coming off of the Good Hope are just ricocheting off this ship. But at least the main armament of her is that much of a threat. The 8-inch are. And the 7-inch. There's 12 barrels of 7-inch which are looking at me. Per side. I mean. But since you can only fire one side at a time. I'm hoping that the Carlisle is going to be able to launch torpedoes against the Soryu. And yes, the DDs might get in the way, and yes, they will probably detect the torpedoes. But my estimation is that the Soryu is not going to be able to get out of the way. Not with a damaged rudder. The Hamanami has launched her torpedoes, but is unable to do anything else. Come on. The port launcher isn't disabled, is it? No, it's not. Ooh, flash fire. Origin. 4-inch shells. I just lost the main turret. I really hope that's containable. Good hope. Target Hamanami. Buoyancy on the ship, 41%. Actually, Carlisle, maintain course. Please don't have torpedoes. Hamanami facing off against Good Hope. Good Hope trying to hit her with 4-inch and 8-inch at a range of 800 meters. And she gets a good shot in. Just the one. But it floods the Hamanami. That might just be enough to get rid of one DD. Unfortunately, it's the DD that was almost out of torpedoes anyway. Got one. Alright, time to get the Shigure. And still maintain my shadow position on the battleship. And by shadow I mean I'm behind it, so that it cannot use that main armament. Looks like those torpedoes are going to get... Well... I'm not really expecting much. I think the Soryu is already getting out of the way. Maintain damage, maintain pressure on the Shigure. Chance to hit's not that good, but with an 8-inch shell you only need to get lucky once or twice. And she'll slow down, and then you can finish her off. Chance to pen is now 14.6 on the Soryu, because I am at a very awkward angle for the guns to hit. So it's not worth it to try and hit her at all. Yeah, the torpedoes are passing harmlessly. Got one. She's flooding, which means an immediate slowdown of that ship. She's doing 35 and slowing. Seems like we got that destroyer dialed in. If worst comes to worst, I can always try to ram the battleship. It is still Alpha 7.5, so it is still a viable tactic. In the sense that, yes, it does a ton of damage. That is very rude of you. Launching torpedoes like that. Was it just the one? Yeah, it's just the one. So your quintuple's not ready yet. No, it's still loading. Or Soryu is actually improving her buoyancy situation. There's the torpedo. I can turn back to starboard. Yes. More flooding. She's fighting it. And especially considering it's already done to sections where she was flooded previously. It's not very impressive. But she goes down. Shigure is down. So now I can focus fully on trying to sink the Soryu. Which is still a really risky operation. But I'm hoping that I can just live long enough to land a few more torpedoes at her. Chance to pen with the Carlisle is 4.9%. The Good Hope seems to be in a terrible spot. She does have anti-flood too, so she can pump out some. I hope it's going to be enough. 3.7 kilometer range from Carlisle to Soryu. 3-6. Good hope to starboard. Avoid those main guns. One 18-inch shell hits you, and it's all game over. And they have an accuracy of 12%. Set a smokescreen, port torpedo launcher on the Soryu. She's definitely pumping her water back out. She's back to 51%. Good hope. Maintain course behind that ship. Carlisle. Any day now. Now. Launch. Carlisle. Why are you refusing to launch your port side torpedoes? They are looking at the target. They're green to go. She's just not launching. Is this bug again? Because my guns are ready, but they're not firing. I think it might have to do with some of the speed settings. Yeah, there we go. Now she's firing again. We're pecking away at the superstructure bit by bit by bit, but that's going to take a long time. Oh shit, flash fire on the Carlisle. Carlisle, launch those damn torpedoes. The torpedo launcher is not blackened out, so it is functional. But it is just refusing to fire whatsoever. Good hope, I have some bad news for you. You're going to be on ramming duty. Why the fuck's the Carlisle refusing to fire? Here we go again. Guns on target? Oh, thank you. Turn off the launcher. Try it back. Turn it back on. I thought that was going to be the end of the Carlisle. She's looking a bit sad without that B turret. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Her torpedo arc is good. Because we're pretty much broadside to that ship. And I have not really planned on being broadside for this long. Because it's just going to kick my ship to the dirt. I thought I'd turn open briefly. Dump those torpedoes in the water. And get the hell out. But that is not what's happening. Good hope. Your current speed is 30.8. Soryu is 15. Chance to pen is... well... the penetration chance is not terrible for a heavy cruiser versus a battleship, but the ricochet chance is so bad. Carlisle has about 70 seconds of smoke left. Let's see if that's enough. Neptune. She's 30 clicks out. So at least the Neptune will be able to relay to the rest of the fleet that the Soryu is out here and needs to be killed off. That battleship still seems very interested in finishing off Carlisle. Whereas, arguably, the Good Hope right now is very much easier to hit. Come on, starboard torpedoes. Does it have to do with the Carlisle? Oh, sorry, with the Good Hope. Oh, that might be it. I think that the AI is worried about potential... there goes Carlisle. About potentially hitting the Good Hope. And because of it, she's just refusing to fire. She just did not want to launch those torpedoes at all. So Good Hope, I just need you to survive long enough. Let's let the game select the ammo. You're being fired at by a lot of 7-inch guns. Let's see if we can use the cheesy way out. We're ramming a 78,000 ton battleship with a 14,000 ton cruiser. Oh dear. Ramming mechanics, don't fail me now. Ramming commencing. That's definitely doing more damage to the Soryu than it is to the Good Hope. Soryu's down to 46, 42. She's flooding again. 36, 33. Good Hope's not in a terribly good condition either. Her entire bow seems to be on fire and most of the ship's flooding. But if she can just live long enough, which I doubt, she's done. You have to be kidding me. Did you guys see that? That was 1% structural integrity on the Soryu. 1%. And I am not sure if she's flooding or not. But I think she's not. Damn, that was close. Oh. Alright, I'm calling it here. That was a really interesting fight. Trying to tackle a big battleship with a couple of light cruisers and a heavy cruiser. The second time around I got lucky in the sense that I was able to park myself behind the battleship and, well, only be facing off against the armament, which is pretty similar to that of the Good Hope in the form of those 12 7-inch guns. And not really have to face the wrath of the 18-inchers. The first attempt was not that good. But then again, Brother Munro actually said that he suggested doing this scenario by designing a heavy cruiser instead of a light. But I decided to go with the Leanders in order to see if they worked or not. Anyway, link again down below in the description to see Brother Munro's attempt of his own scenario. Let me know what your thoughts are, and again, if you have a scenario, please send it in through the link down below in the description, not through a comment, as I will just be deleting those common scenarios. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you soon for another video.